Hey, so I am doing something new this morning. I am going live on both Facebook and Instagram. So if you see me looking back and forth, it's because I have two devices in front of me and I'm going live on both at the same time, because I often find that I share something on Facebook or I share something on Instagram and I don't have time to do it on the other one, and so I feel like sometimes I kind of miss out on giving my message on both platforms, and I kind of have like different followers on each platform. So I'm gonna try this where I do live on both. So if you are here, give me a heads up and let me know you're here. Give me a hi or a comment or something like that, so I know that this is working. Okay, so I wanted to talk right quick about something that if you're in the medical field or the nursing field, you've heard this before, or if you've followed me for a while. Hey Jenny, how are you? And that is evidence-based practice. Now, before you like shut off and run in the other direction, let me explain. Hey Robin, evidence-based practice in the medical world is that your actions are based on evidence. So you do something because it produces a certain effect. You know, it's pretty much like an experiment, right? When I'm talking to my diabetic patients, a lot of times I tell them, you know, they're like, well, what do I eat? I don't know how much to eat. When do I eat? And I tell them, you need to start monitoring your blood sugar and decide how your body reacts and use that as evidence as to what foods you can eat. If you eat a banana and your sugar goes up to 300, then you know that maybe you need to cut back on the portion size of the banana, that type thing. So in my life, in my health journey, for years, I did the things that didn't work, right? And I was unhappy and I did not know what to do and I lost motivation. I went to the gym and I got no results. I tried different diets and I got no results, or I'd get a little results and then I'd backslide. And so that was like demotivating, and yet I didn't know what to do to change it. I wasn't getting the evidence that what I was doing was working, but I didn't know what to do to change it. So at some point I stumbled upon the tools that I use now, and I was still super duper skeptical, but I went ahead and just started making changes because I tried all these other things and nothing had worked. So I decided that I was going to do this. And then I started to look, I'm getting all kinds of notifications here. I started to look at what was happening and I started seeing results, and that helped my momentum, and then I started moving forward and I continued on that path. And kept expanding on what I was doing. So what you see me do now, the workouts you see me do, the meal prep you see me do, the things that I share, like the motivation and stuff like that, that has been kind of a culmination, is that a word, of me doing these things, seeing the evidence, helping my momentum, and now I'm helping other people to do this same thing because it has been so amazing in my life. But I encourage you, when you're doing things, to base what you're doing on evidence-based practice. What I see a lot of times is I have ladies that will come to me and they will say, I want to make a change. And so I want to know what you're doing because I've been watching you for a while. What you're doing seems to be working. I want to know what you're doing. And so I proceed to chat with them about their goals and different stuff like that, and then we decide, you know, what route would be good for them. I share with them the tools that I think would work good. There's several different options, so I usually have to kind of have that little conversation and figure out what it is that will work for them, you know, with their starting point where they're at. So we talk about all of that, and then I find a lot of times that they'll say, well, I only work out in the gym, or I can only work out in a group setting, or I don't like to do that type of workout. I only run, you know, different things like that, okay? I was in that headspace for a long time too, so I'm not like saying any shame or judgment or anything like that. I'm just saying that take a step back from that. Is it working for you? That may be what you have always done, but is it working for you? If it's not working for you, then it's time to make a change. And so look at the evidence. I'm presenting the evidence to you every day on my Instagram stories, on my Facebook feed, in my support community. I'm presenting the evidence. I am showing you the real journey, what is happening, and I am trying to share the tools with you, right? So then the other thing that I see is like I drink a superfood smoothie. I was super duper skeptical of any type of shakes. I didn't drink shakes. I said I want to eat my food. I watched my husband work out for years and drink some type of protein powder that we would buy at the grocery store with no results from that. There was no evidence that that worked. But I started out my health journey thinking, well, if I'm going to do this, I probably need to get some type of protein drink, right? Because that's what all the athletes do, is they add protein. You know, that's supposed to help build muscle, right? Hey, Nicole. So at the start of my journey, I looked for a protein drink, but they were all dairy-based, and dairy-based does not work for me. So I looked for one that did not have dairy in it, and that's how I stumbled upon the superfood smoothie that I drink now. I did not know the difference between a protein drink and the superfood smoothie, and I was still very skeptical, but I thought that's what I had to do. Well, thank goodness I had the dairy intolerance, because it led me to one of the best superfood smoothies on the market that has evidence that it helps. So I started drinking that thinking I need the protein, when actually what we need is the nutrition from it. So as I started drinking it, one of the first things that I noticed is how I felt, how my skin looked, and how my hair was growing. And my hairdresser even said something. She was like, holy cow, like, what are you doing? I'd been seeing her for years, and she says, what are you doing? Your hair is growing like a weed. Like, I can't keep up with it. Look at all this hair on the ground. Oh my gosh, your hair's growing so much. She said, and look, it's thicker than it used to be. She didn't know I was drinking the superfood smoothie, but that's evidence. It was evidence that what I was doing was working. And so what I found in the process of what I'm doing is that we are often not lacking we're not lacking protein, unless you are just a severely malnourished person, unless you have some type of chronic illness that is causing a malabsorption in your gut, or if you've had some type of surgical thing that has caused a malabsorption or not as much surface area of your gut to absorb, then yes, you may need protein, and you need to follow the guidance of your nutritionist, your doctor, whoever it is that's treating you for those things. But the majority of people are not lacking in protein. We are lacking in nutrition. And so what I found over the last 6 months, 8 months, somewhere in there, is that as I gave my body better nutrition, solid nutrition, and combined it with an effective workout program, that I've gotten more results than I've had in the last 3.5 years. So I oftentimes will talk to somebody and they'll be like, I don't drink shakes. I don't like shakes. I'm not a shake person. And so that's what I have to tell them is I was not someone that drank shakes either. And I love to eat my food, but this is a supplement that I can't, the nutrition in it is something I can't get in my food anywhere where I live. And most of us can't. And I mean, it has so much packed in it that you just can't get it in other food. And if you tried to like go to stores and pull all of the superfoods and supplements together, you would actually like have a bill of like several $100s. It would not be comparable. And then the other thing is there's so many different type of shakes and superfoods on the market, superfood smoothies. There's 700 and something last that I checked, and only a couple of them are what they say they are. So that's the other thing, is if you are drinking something, are you getting any benefits from it? Are you seeing any results? And so to kind of wrap up what I'm saying, I will often see people that will say, or talk to people that will say, well, I only do this type of workout. I only like to do it like this. Or I drink this drink and I don't want to give it up. And the bottom line with that is it working? So you're coming to me and you're asking me, what can I do like you, because I'm not seeing results, or I saw results and they've stopped. And so I ask you, so are you coming to me because you want to see what tools I use? And if you are you willing to change? Are you willing to try them out? Like, give them 30 to 60 to 90 days and like seriously give them a chance. Don't order them and then not drink the superfoods and not do the workout, that type thing. So I hope I'm making sense with this. Y'all let me know if I'm not. But my point is, take evidence-based practice for what you do. It's not just in the medical field. It's in everything that you do. And be willing to change. Be willing to take suggestions from someone who's maybe a little bit further on the path that you want to go on. If they are a little bit further down the path, maybe take suggestions from them, okay? And if what I share with you, if it's not something you want to do, fine, go back to what you're doing. But I have so many people that will come to me and they're just, that's just what they say. They're like, well, I like to do this and I like to do this. And like, okay, well, I like to do this too, but let's do what is based on evidence and let's get some results. Just like my diabetics. I'm like, well, if you like to eat bananas all the time, then you're going to probably be on insulin eventually, you know, or you're going to have to go on a higher dose because you're eating bananas and your sugar's shooting up. And so that's the evidence. So if you want to change something, you need to change something, right? So I hope that makes sense to y'all. This is just something that's kind of very, very passionate. I'm very passionate, and it's something that's heavy on my heart a lot of times because it is so hard to change. And I absolutely have been in that mindset and that headspace for a long time. But once I kind of embraced change and decided that I wanted to make a change, even though I was highly skeptical, even though I was very doubtful of myself and belief in myself, I took that step because I was no longer wanting to stay where I was. And when I did that, when I decided that, what do I have to lose? My cholesterol's high, my high blood pressure's high, I'm losing my mind, I'm yelling at my kids all of the time, my house is a mess, I feel like I'm just like in no control whatsoever, and my job is doing me in. So am I gonna stay here with all of this and keep doing what I've done, or am I gonna make a change and do something? I see evidence of this might work, so let's try it and let's go. Okay, so I hope that helps you. It is truly a struggle, but I know that if you're not happy where you're at, what I'm doing works. It absolutely does if you accept the process and the system, and you have my support as part of it. So if you do want to make a change, and I have hit a chord with you, and you want to do something for what state you're in right now, then certainly message me. If you're on Instagram, you can DM me at the bottom, or the link in my bio has a form that you can fill out. But one way or another, try to move yourself in the direction of evidence-based practice. Don't do things just because someone else does it or says it's what you're supposed to do or something you've always done. Give it a try, whatever the new thing is, if you see evidence that it may work better for you. Okay? All right. Hey Brenda, how are you? So let me know if this is helpful for you, and I hope it is not too distracting that I've looked between two devices, but I'm trying to make sure I kind of hit both of my audiences. If y'all are on Facebook following me and you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me over there because I do a lot on my IG stories. If you don't know what that is, it's easy to figure out, but I do a lot on my IG stories, and it does like transfer over to Facebook, but I don't think it's as visible on Facebook as it is on Instagram. So you can kind of see the behind the scenes of what I do every day, because I don't always post it directly on Facebook, but I have a lot going on in my stories, and do a lot of silly stuff and show some of the weird stuff going on around my house of teenagers. All right, so y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.